What happens when a tennis champion tries to fight against his own body in a final? That is what happened to Jannik Sinner in Cincinnati, in a match that was supposed to be epic against Carlos Alcaraz but ended sooner than expected. Tension, emotions, and sadness marked a day that left fans with mixed feelings. The Italian explained what happened and, with great honesty, shared his physical and emotional discomfort. Today we are going to relive those words, understand what occurred, and discover the greatness of this gesture of sincerity and respect. From the very first point it was clear that something wasn't right. Jannik Sinner, world number 1, wasn't moving with his usual energy nor finding precision in his shots. His attempts to keep up the pace dissolved into unforced errors and into a body that seemed unwilling to continue. The crowd, confused, began to realize that it wasn't simply a bad day. As the set progressed, the Italian showed clear signs of discomfort. He tried to accelerate the points, but each extended rally drained him more. His body language was unequivocal. Sinner was battling against something stronger than any rival, and that inner battle was about to cost him the final. Finally, after a conversation with the doctors, he made the toughest decision: to retire. The scene was moving. With a gesture of resignation, he walked toward his bench while the crowd's ovation embraced him. The spectators knew it wasn't just any retirement, but the reflection of an athlete who had given everything possible until he could no longer continue. At the end of the match, Sinner explained what had happened. With a sincere voice and dim gaze, he confessed that since the previous night he had not been feeling well. He thought that, by resting, he would improve during the night. However, the opposite happened. When he woke up, he felt even worse. Even so, he didn't want to withdraw immediately from the final. "I wanted to go out on the court to try to play at least part of the match," he said with humility. But he quickly understood that his body would not withstand it. Every movement was a struggle and reality prevailed. He could not compete under dignified conditions against a rival like Alcaraz. His retirement was inevitable. That moment, painful but honest, made clear the harshness of professional tennis. It is not always mental strength or willpower that wins. Sometimes the body says enough, and the only thing left is to accept reality with as much composure as possible. What moved people the most were his apologies to the fans. Sinner, aware of the effort made by those who traveled and bought tickets, addressed them directly. "I'm really sorry. I know some made a special effort to be here, having to work or leaving other things aside," he expressed with gratitude and sorrow. That gesture reflected the respect and humility that characterized the player. He didn't just think about his own frustration, but also about those who expected a memorable final. Despite his pain, he wanted to thank the crowd for their presence and support, leaving a message of deep respect toward tennis fans. Sinner's elegance didn't stop there. Faced with the situation, he sincerely congratulated his rival, Carlos Alcaraz. He acknowledged his victory and highlighted the incredible season the Spaniard was having. "It's not how you wanted it, but it's amazing what you are achieving," were his words, filled with sportsmanship. He also gave recognition to Alcaraz's team, valuing the collective effort behind each triumph. "You and your whole team are doing a great job. Keep going. I wish you the best for the US Open and the rest of the season," he concluded. With that farewell, he left an image of sportsmanship worthy of a number 1. The crowd responded with an ovation that mixed admiration and respect. Sinner left the court with his head down, heading to the locker room, but accompanied by everyone's recognition. That day he didn't lift a trophy, but he reinforced his image as an upright athlete, capable of being an example on and off the court. Alcaraz, for his part, accepted the title with humility. Although it wasn't the final he had dreamed of playing, he understood the situation of his friend and rival. That connection between the two makes it clear that this rivalry is only just beginning and that, when they meet again, it will be with more strength and emotion. The heartbreaking image of Sinner on the verge of tears just before retiring from the final against Alcaraz. That is what happened in Cincinnati, when Jannik Sinner, one of the greatest talents in world tennis, was forced to withdraw in the middle of his dream duel against Carlos Alcaraz. The entire stadium fell silent, unable to believe what was happening. What promised to be an intense battle ended in the most unexpected and painful way. Today we are going to relive that moment, understand what really happened, and discover why the friendship and respect between Sinner and Alcaraz make this story even more special. From the very first point of the match, the crowd noticed something strange in Jannik Sinner. Normally explosive and agile on court, he looked slower, as if something was holding him back inside. His shots sought to shorten the points, avoiding the long rallies that are usually his specialty. The discomfort was visible and many began to wonder if he was injured or ill. At a decisive moment, Sinner sat on his bench and asked for medical assistance. The Italian's face reflected all the pain of not being able to perform as he wanted. The cameras captured the emotion in his eyes, on the verge of breaking into tears. It wasn't just a match, it was an important final and against a rival with whom he shares history and mutual respect. The doctors tried to help him, but his body didn't respond as he wished. That was when he made the difficult decision: he couldn't continue. With a gesture of frustration and sadness, he announced his retirement. The crowd, surprised and moved, applauded him strongly, understanding that what was happening went beyond sport. Carlos Alcaraz's reaction was immediate and exemplary. The Spaniard approached his rival, forgetting the competition for a moment. He showed him support, spoke to him with closeness, and made sure he was okay. That gesture reflected the human quality of both players, rivals on court but friends off it. The most heartbreaking thing was Sinner's sincerity before the fans. With a trembling voice, he apologized for not being able to continue. He explained that since the night before he had felt unwell and that, despite trying to recover, he wasn't able to be in condition. His honesty made the crowd applaud him even more. The match ended prematurely, but it left an indelible image: the vulnerability of an elite athlete facing his own limits. And although the final everyone expected wasn't played, it was proven that respect and empathy in sport are as important as victory. The relationship between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner is unique in today's tennis. They have known each other since they were children, when they already competed in junior tournaments and displayed a level that impressed everyone. Over the years, that healthy rivalry grew until it became one of the most promising of the new generation. Each match between them is usually a spectacle of intensity, talent, and emotion. What happened in Cincinnati will not erase that rivalry; on the contrary, it will make it more special. Alcaraz showed that, beyond titles and ranking points, health and friendship always come first. That attitude strengthened the bond between them even more and left a valuable lesson for the public and for young people who dream of reaching professional tennis. Sinner, for his part, showed the other side of elite athletes. Many times we only see their strength, their victories, and their glory. But behind every champion there is a human being who also suffers, gets sick, and faces moments of fragility. That image of Sinner on the verge of tears humanized the player and generated a wave of empathy among fans and colleagues. The fans who had come to Cincinnati expecting an epic final left with mixed feelings. On the one hand, sadness at not seeing the full duel. On the other, pride in witnessing an act of honesty and respect in sport. It was a reminder that, sometimes, the most valuable thing in a match is not the result, but the stories that are born around it. Now, all eyes are on the US Open. There is a possibility that Sinner and Alcaraz will meet again in New York, this time with both at their peak. That sporting rematch could become one of the most anticipated matches of the year and an opportunity to close the wound left by Cincinnati. The episode also reinforces an important idea: tennis is living a new era. With figures like Alcaraz and Sinner, the future of the sport is in good hands. Beyond victories and defeats, what will mark their legacy is the combination of talent, respect, and human values that they showed in such a difficult moment. How much money does a tennis champion really take home after lifting a Masters 1000? That is the question many asked after Carlos Alcaraz won the Cincinnati tournament, in a final marked by Jannik Sinner's withdrawal. Although the outcome was unexpected, the triumph gave the Spaniard more than just sporting prestige. In addition to the ATP ranking points, Alcaraz secured a financial prize that reflects the magnitude of these tournaments. Today we are going to review exactly how much money the Mercian earned for his victory in Cincinnati and what it means for his career. Carlos Alcaraz achieved his 6th title of the season in Cincinnati, adding another trophy to his record. Beyond the way the final ended, with Jannik Sinner's retirement due to physical problems, the victory counts as a full Masters 1000 in the Spaniard's record. And with it came not only the 1,000 points for the world ranking, but also a very significant financial figure. The total prize money distributed in this Masters 1000 exceeded $9 million, a huge purse that is shared among all participants according to the round reached. Obviously, the champion takes the biggest share, and in this case, Alcaraz was not disappointed. For winning Cincinnati, Carlos Alcaraz received a check for $1,124,380, which is approximately €960,000. An impressive sum that reflects both the prestige of the tournament and the level of effort required to reach the very top in a competition of this caliber. Although the final was resolved earlier than expected, the Spaniard's effort throughout the week was enormous. From the first match to the semi-final, he had to face high-level rivals, proving once again that his ability to stay strong in long tournaments is already one of his greatest virtues. The money earned in Cincinnati adds to a brilliant season in which Alcaraz is not only collecting trophies, but also economic stability worthy of the great stars of world sport. At 21 years old, he is already handling figures that consolidate his place among the best. This prize is also an important boost in his career. It not only means financial security, but also confidence to face the next major challenges, such as the US Open, where he will have the chance to continue growing in the fight for number one. The Cincinnati Masters 1000 is one of the most prestigious tournaments on the circuit. Winning it means more than a title. It is a leap in international recognition and in earnings, both sporting and economic. For Alcaraz, lifting this trophy is confirmation that he is ready to remain at the top for many years. The check of more than $1 million he takes home for this triumph is a figure that impresses, but that also reflects what tennis generates globally. Major tournaments attract sponsors, worldwide audiences, and enormous expectations, which translates into prizes that reward the efforts of the best players on the planet. Compared to other sports, the earnings of a tournament like Cincinnati place tennis at a high level, although it does not yet reach what disciplines such as football or basketball can generate. However, for a player like Alcaraz, each title of this magnitude is also a step toward bigger contracts and greater media projection. This prize in particular has an additional symbolic value. It not only strengthens his financial position, but also consolidates him as one of the most important tennis players of the moment, capable of winning both Grand Slams and Masters 1000s. Cincinnati thus becomes another piece of his growing legacy. What is interesting is that this type of income does not stop at the tournament's check alone. Winning a Masters 1000 increases his appeal to sponsors, improves his public image, and brings him even closer to becoming the central figure of world tennis. Each victory multiplies his impact in sport and in business. Alcaraz no longer only competes for titles, he is also building a sporting empire. Cincinnati gave him points, prestige, and $1 million that are just a reflection of what it means to be a champion at this level. The future promises him many more opportunities to repeat this feat. Carlos Alcaraz pocketed $1,124,380 for his victory in Cincinnati, in addition to the 1,000 points that bring him closer to the ATP number one. A prize that not only rewards his effort on the court, but also positions him as one of the most profitable and dominant stars in today's tennis. At just 21 years old, Alcaraz shows that he is destined to mark an era in sport. Money is important, but the most valuable thing is that each triumph strengthens his ambition and his path to the top. And Cincinnati is new proof of that.